Hello everybody, I am quixQuery, and today will be the very first episode of Why Does It Work? A series where I go through and explain the how and why of redstone contraptions. And so in this first episode we're going to be starting off with this fully automatic sugarcane farm that is bud-powered. The bud-powered design of a fully automatic sugarcane farm, and how it works, and what this simple little redstone contraption, what this circuit does. So let's get started. First, we need to know that it's bud-powered. So bud-powered pistons are essentially one's a regular powered piston is just one that's next to a block that has power. And so we can flick this lever right here, and it will either power or unpower. Bud-powered ones, you can see the difference right here, will, and you can see that only the piston that's powered extends. Bud-powered ones mean that it is just kind of ever so slightly skewed as far as where the piston is in location to the powered block. And there are certain ways for this example, for this farm, it is diagonally like that, diagonally adjacent, and when bud pistons don't power and unpower like regular ones, they will extend when there's a block update next to them. And so then we can flick this lever again, and it won't unextend until the thing is off and we receive a block update that next to it. So when sugarcane grows, it causes a block update, which means that the piston will extend. And we see that this one right here isn't bud powered, and so it isn't extending next to that one. So now, when pistons are next to each other and one receives an update, all of the ones that are bud-powered next to those pistons will extend at the same time. And again, we can flip the switch, none of them will unextend, and they will unextend until they receive a block update next to them and the bud-powered block is unpowered. So, okay, so now that we've gone over a little bit of bud switches, comparators, we can kind of see how this has some bud power in it. This redstone is powering a block which is diagonally adjacent to these pistons, which are then right next to the sugarcane. So when the sugarcane updates, they all extend because they're all right next to each other. Ah, perfect timing. So, next we have to learn about this comparator, what it's doing. What in the world is this block of sand and furnace doing there too? So, comparators can take signal from an object through a block. And it doesn't have to be through a block, it can just be regular too. So we'll take this, nope, we want a chest and a comparator, and we can see that as I put blocks in here, the redstone signal will carry through, and it depends on how many blocks I put in there, how far the redstone signal will carry. And there are specific numbers where it will increase because of the size that a chest can store. And this will go up to as long as redstone can go, which is 15 blocks. Now the comparators can do this through a solid block. And so if the chest is on the other side of this solid block, then it will power the other the other, it will power out still, even though it's on the other side of this block. So what we can do is we can switch a few blocks around, and instead of chest, we can use a furnace. And there are a few advantages to that, which I will explain later. And a block of sand. And we'll go over why we're using a block of sand. But if we put blocks in the furnace, then we can see that the comparator will take it through the block of sand and power out so many blocks, depending on how full the furnace is. So, we can see a little bit of that. Why are there only 14 blocks in the furnace? Why 14? That is because 14 is just enough to power in a furnace, 14 is enough to power 2 redstone signal strength, which will just power 2 lights on this example I have set up. So we can put in more than that if we want in that furnace, but it only requires 14 items. You can see we have 6 items in there, only 1 lights up. And as we go on even up to 13, there's only 1 lit up, but as soon as we put 14 in there, there are now 2. And so that's the only reason there's 14 blocks in there. We could put 64 in there and a whole stack, and it would still work just like we want it to. So, to kind of tie it all together, this block of sand, the reason why it's a block of sand, it could be a block of gravel. It could be, I don't know if comparators can take signal from chests through an anvil, but it's entirely possible. Anyway, anything that has gravity, that's a solid block, comparators can still take signal strength from them. And because it has gravity, this piston will extend upward when extend upward and push the sand block upward when the other ones are triggered by a bud switch. And we'll just update that. And that's just kind of a lock. It keeps the top powered there. So it will extend, and when it's extended, this is no longer a solid block. It's just kind of half a block because there's a piston there. Anyway, the comparator doesn't take signal through that. It will only take signal through this block right here because it's a solid block. And so then that means that it's not powering anymore, and this entire bit of stuff won't be powered during that time. And so, because of that, all of these buds are now no longer powered, and because if we put this out right there, because they are no longer powered, they will unextend. Now, why do we use a furnace rather than a chest? There are a couple reasons. One, furnaces are cheaper, and they don't require as many items in them because there's less space to store them. And two, because, and this is the major reason, chests cause block updates, which means that all the pistons will extend every time you open up this chest and close it again. So we don't want that happening, so we're just going to use a furnace because it's overall cheaper, just makes more sense, more versatile for what we're doing, for what we're using it for. So, that is pretty much this entire circuit explained. This can just go on as long as you want it to. And we could even add another piston right here if we wanted to. I'm not going to, but we can flip these pistons around and they'll do the same thing that they did before. They'll still extend, and the whole bud-powered stuff will work still. And so that is how this farm works. So I hope you liked this video, and I hope it was enlightening, and I will see you later. One more thing. When you build this farm, the original video uses glass panes directly over the water. Don't use glass panes. It is 1,000 times more likely, the object is 1,000 times more likely to get stuck and fly all over the place when you use glass panes, because now there is only half a block that you can use to fall down into, versus if you were to just use whole blocks, then you would have a whole block. If you use solid blocks, then you have a whole block space that your sugarcane is able to fall into. It just makes the whole thing a lot easier. Less sugarcane gets lost. It falls onto the sand less times, and it's just all around better when you use solid blocks over glass panes in this design. Oh, no anvil.